Hello, everybody. If you are in the chat now, go ahead and say hi. And if you have any questions, put a Q in front of your question so that I know that there's a question. And while we're waiting for questions to come in, um, let me just talk a little bit about what I ate today. So let's see, I had a pound of ground beef for lunch today. Um, Made it into 2, half-pound burger patties, of course, no bun or anything, seasoned with Redmond's, um, real salt, and that was lunch, and to this point, I haven't ate dinner, so that's where I'm at right now. Don't know if I'm gonna eat again today, so that probably is gonna be all I'll have to eat today. So I kind of switch back and forth between doing 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, that type of thing. Just kinda depends on how hungry I am and, um, if I'm working out, that kinda thing and so forth. So, alright. Hello, Bree. Nicole, how are you? Good to see you again. I hope, you were safe in the storms the other day. I know that you're in the Northern Virginia area. We had some pretty bad storms. Uh, so things were okay where I was at. Hopefully you were okay as well. Right. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Just put a Q in front so they know if there's a question. And let's see, let me talk a little bit about what I've got coming up here. I have a few live streams coming up as well as some interviews. Um, right now, let's see, today is the 9th. Next Monday, I have a live stream set up with another YouTuber. And then the week after that, I'm going to have a couple of live streams and have an interview and so forth set up. Next week is going to be an interesting week for me as I will have um, a couple of days that I'll be in town. And then towards the end of the week, I will be out of town for a little bit. Right. So, Nicole talking about the storm that we were going to die from the lightning. Some look pretty close. Yeah, we didn't have too bad where I was at with lightning, but I heard that there were some other areas in Northern Virginia that were pretty bad and some pretty bad wind and so forth. All right. And when is our Virginia meetup? So Nicole and I have been talking because we're both in Virginia, in the Northern Virginia area, and we've been talking about setting up a meetup for people in Virginia. Some people that are, keto or carnivore that want to get together and meet. So we're gonna set up some details, I guess, for that, and we still have to talk about that offline, and then we will figure that out and get some details out to people. All right. Hey, Cindy. That's good that YouTube actually worked on the notification. I know that doesn't always work, so glad that you're here. All right. So as I was saying, I do have some live streams coming up. Um, I did the interview with Adam from Carnivore today, a couple of days ago. I believe that was yesterday that that video came out. So if you scroll through my list of videos, you will see that interview. And I think it was a very good interview. Um, Adams had some tremendous results through Carnivore, and I believe he lost over 60 pounds at this point, and Um, just a lot of different healing that he's had, different issues and so forth. So go ahead and check that video out when you get a chance. All right. Cindy, I am doing good. Um, I was telling people about my eating for the day earlier. I had just one meal so far today, probably all I'm going to eat. I had a pound of ground beef that I made into burgers, and I felt pretty good from that. So, hope that your day's been going well as well. Anybody wants to comment in the comments about what they've ate today, that would be great as well. So we can all see what people have eaten today. Um, let's see. So this is the first time that I have done a live on my own and actually hosting the live. I've done a few lives before, but other people have been hosting it. So I'm still getting used to some of the things here within StreamYard to do this live. So bear with me here. Okay. So Cindy, Ceiling 2 was shocked when my scale said I was malnourished in protein. It's finally up to normal range. That's good. Good job getting everything up to normal. Right. Also, if you want in the comments, let us know where you're from. I talked a little bit that I'm from Virginia. Um, Former fat girl is also from the Northern Virginia area. So, um, nice to see if there's anybody else in the same area or not. All right, let's see. What did Cindy have today? She had a ribeye and ground beef for breakfast and a chicken thigh and a leg a little bit ago. That's good. I love ribeye. That's my favorite. Um, if I could, I'd eat ribeyes all the time, but I've actually been eating ground beef a lot lately. Um, it's cheaper and just trying to save a little bit of money. So I've been doing a lot of ground beef and some eggs. Matter of fact, the one day I did a video about how much it cost me to eat that particular day. I ate uh, six scrambled eggs and a pound of ground beef, and it was like $5 or a little less than that. So just to show you that carnivore isn't really that expensive. There's a lot of cheaper opportunities out there. Chicken thighs, as Cindy mentioned, are a really good, cheap food to eat on carnivore as well. All right. And Nicole had 3 burger patties with bacon and cheese and 2 hard-boiled eggs. Yes, bacon. I wish I would eat more bacon. I love bacon too. Um, I've been eating my burger patties lately without anything other than Redmond salt, but definitely like bacon. And I do like cheese. Unfortunately, sometimes I eat too much cheese and it stalls my weight loss, but that's one thing you got to watch with cheese. But as long as it's just a little bit, it's usually okay for me. So, all right. And Cindy is in Texas, boiling hot Texas. All right. Yeah, I think it's been pretty hot everywhere, but I can just imagine Texas. It's got to be really hot. And Cindy says she cannot afford a ribeye every time she eats, but a good sized ribeye will last me 3 meals. Good. And there was like back in the spring, I was eating ribeye a lot. And I'd go to Costco and get like the big slabs of ribeye. And then I would um, cut them into about 20 to 24-ounce steaks, I guess. And I was doing that. And that would be the only thing I would eat that particular day. And I was doing really well with that. And I guess it wasn't that expensive. You figure 20 to 24 ounces, let's say 24 ounces is a pound and a half. And I think I was getting them for about $13 or $14 a pound. So it was around $20 for my meal for that particular day. A little bit more than like if I have eggs and ground beef, and I'm only spending like $5 on a day, but Still, it's not too bad. It's more affordable than I think most people think, especially if you're a person that goes to like Starbucks. You're probably spending $5 or $6 on your Starbucks right there. Um, so really, Carnivore isn't that expensive. All right. And if you can, in the go ahead and like the video. That'll help to let people know on YouTube. It'll push it into its algorithm and let people know that there's a live stream going on right now. That can help us to get more people in. All right, Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto. Hello, everyone. Hello. I was just talking earlier about live streams, and one of the live streams that I'm going to be doing coming up next Monday, as a matter of fact, is with Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto. So next Monday evening, you're going to want to check that one out, as we'll be doing a live stream together. All right, my weight loss life. Hello, how are you doing? And I know we're working to get a live stream together as well. So we'll have something coming up in the near future in a few weeks, I believe, with Alia. I think we're going to do one with the three of us. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, Cindy says mackerel patties are great and cheap. Mackerel pork rind, panko, egg, and whatever seasoning if you want it. Fry it in tallow. Okay, good. All right. Thank you. I'm excited as well for the live. Looking forward to it. The way she has her own YouTube channel. So if you have not um, found her channel yet, Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto, please go check her out. She's been putting out some good content. Cindy's got another post here. Let's see. Make a post so I can send a notification. Okay. So I think she's talking about, are you talking about the live? Okay, there we go. Then she says, yes, I see what you're saying. Okay, find her. It's about this one. Yep. And actually, Santa, if you want to put your the link to your channel here in the chat, I will advertise that here as well. Okay, the Monday live stream link. Let me find that as well. Get it to come up. Here we go. All right. So it's in the chat, but this is the link for the live stream for Monday with Sana and myself. Okay. All right. Let me get that for you, Sana. Hold on one second here. All right. And here is the link to her YouTube channel. So go check that out. It's in the chat, so you should be able to click in it. or at least copy and paste it. Okay. So let's see what else here. While I'm waiting for questions to come in, I have a video set to go tomorrow where I'm going to talk about what I think is probably the biggest benefit that I've seen from the carnivore diet. I'm going to talk about my joint pain and arthritis that I had. I had arthritis really bad in my big toes and issues with joint pain for several years. So I got a video talking about that and how within the first month or two on carnivore, that pain pretty much all went away. I used to have issues anytime I walked a lot or exercised or banged my toe or my foot, that my foot would swell up. And that has not been an issue since about a month into the carnivore diet. I am now 13 months in, so a little over a year, and that has been really well. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a video that I've got queued up for tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And let me get caught up here. How's everyone doing tonight? All right. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing good. Okay. Here's a question. How do you reach people who eat tons of veggies and are not healthy? Hmm. This is a good question. And so I think it depends on people too, because some people have trouble with certain vegetables and some people don't with certain vegetables. Like I found certain vegetables did affect me and I would get pain like from the oxalates and so forth. So like baby spinach is something I used to eat a lot of baby spinach. I used to put it in a protein shake and I'd have a lot of issues with, the pain from it, joint pain and so forth. And um, when I cut that out, things did get better. Still had a lot of issues though until I actually went carnivore. But so the question here, how do you reach those people? I don't know because here's the deal. I think that until somebody is ready to do something like the carnivore diet or low carb, keto, whatever it is, um, they're probably not going to be very successful. They have to be in that mindset and be ready to do it and know that that's what they want to do. If they go into it and they're not fully committed, it's going to be a lot harder because one of the big things that they're going to have is sugar cravings. And I think that that is going to be tough for them to overcome. So, my best advice really would be to lead by example, show them how you're improving with the carnivore diet, and hope that they see that and want to get to the same way. I just don't think it's gonna be too successful for very many people if they're not really committed to it themselves and believe that they can do it. Oh, let's see. Cindy got my 1,000 steps in by the time I left work today. 10,000 steps. I'm sorry. And great job with the 10,000 steps. I struggle with that a lot. I do sit at a computer a lot for work, and I'm usually doing good if I can get 6,000 to 8,000 steps. 10,000 is great. All right. A lot going on in the chat here. Everybody just talking back and forth. Here's another question. Did you ever do a keto diet? How long did you do it? Yes, I started with keto. So going back to last spring of the year before, so 2022, um, I decided that I needed to do something. I just didn't have any energy or anything, and I was quite a bit overweight, and my health wasn't very good. I was having a lot of issues with AFib, was atrial fibrillation, and essentially what that is you go into these episodes where your heart starts beating really fast, and then it slows down a bit, like into a more normal rhythm, and then goes really fast, and so forth, right? So I was having a lot of episodes with that, and I knew some people that were doing keto. Hold on one second. So I knew some people that were doing keto and were having good results. So I decided to do that, and I did about 2 to 2.5 months of keto. I did lose a few pounds, not a lot, maybe 10 pounds or so, 10 to 15 pounds, something like that. And I did feel a little bit better, but I was also researching a lot on the carnivore diet, and I was getting more and more convinced that I needed to go that route and just cut the carbs out completely. So in July of 2022 is when I made the switch from keto to carnivore. Um, I think it depends for some people. They might be better off with keto than carnivore, to be honest, just because it can be very hard to completely cut out all the carbs. And then some people might be better off doing carnivore because any little bit of carb kind of helps or kind of keeps their cravings, right? And that was kind of something that I had is eating the carbs. I do have cravings when I cheat a little bit here on carnivore and have carbs, I get the cravings back right away. So for me, carnivore is better than keto. Some other people, they might do better with a little bit of carb. So, you know, I think that either way, you're still doing a good job of getting yourself healthy and eating good animal meat and the animal fat and so forth, which is going to help with all the different health issues that are out there. I've seen a lot of people that have fixed autoimmune type of issues, both in keto and carnivore. So, I think that either one works pretty well. All right, let's see. A lot more comments to catch up on here. Okay, Cindy says she never put pain together with her diet. Did keto with the keto snacks, went carnivore, and I feel great at 58. Joined a gym. Good. So one thing I'll tell you with keto snacks, you really have to watch the labels. Some things are listed as keto friendly and so forth, but they really aren't. They have more carbs in them than you're supposed to have in keto. So you really have to watch some of those keto snacks. Some of them are good, but some of them you really have to watch. Okay, good advice. Like Dave Ramsey says, people convinced against their will don't change. Yeah, I believe that it's very hard um, to do something, accomplish something that you're not fully committed to and convinced that you can do. So, and by the way, good to see you, Carnivore Ron. Glad you're here. All right. Let's see, trying to catch up on comments here. Here's a good comment here. It definitely is easy to get burnt out if we don't get that rest time in. Definitely. Yep. And that can work with the diet as well, right? Some people will say, um, they're going to take this particular day off from worrying about the diet and they might have a couple of little carbs or something, whatever. I've done that before. Unfortunately, it doesn't work well for me because I do get those cravings when I do that. but it does work well for other people too. And, same thing like when we're talking about like exercising and so forth. Some people do a lot of walking every day and so forth. And sometimes you just need that rest time. So good there. Okay, so I think Cindy here is talking about her heart rate. Mine went fast and then felt like it paused. It's from carbs. If I got a candy bar right now, it would happen again. No more erratic heartbeat. So one thing that I was researching for quite a while, different cardiologists that talked on YouTube and just articles, and there were also Dr. Barry Canberry talked about this. Um, there is a lot of AFib can be caused by sugar. And I don't remember exactly because I'm not a doctor here, but I believe it's there's a nerve up here or something that can cause the signals in your brain to tell your heart to, it just gets out of whack and it tells your heart to beat when it's not supposed to. And that's kind of what AFib is. And so it goes into a fast beat and then regular and fast and so forth. And that can definitely be sugar related. So that was one thing that I was hoping when I did go carnivore that I would see a difference with my AFib, and I definitely did. So I haven't had any episodes in over a year with that. All right, let's see where I'm at. Okay. Nicole says she is more so ketovore, but some days sway closer to keto, largely BBB&E, triple B&E, which is beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, with minimal carbs, mostly avocado and berries. I have to say I really like avocado. I've been trying to stay away from it as much as possible with being on carnivore, but I do like avocado. A lot of talk about raining. Yes, it has been rough here in Virginia lately with the rain. So, right. NYT says hello. Glad to have you here. Hello. Ron says, hi, Wick. I can't eat sweets. No chance they give me cravings. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the last time. So this was a few weeks back. I had a piece of cheesecake at um, at another person's house, a little party that we were at. And first of all, I kind of felt awful for a few hours after that, just didn't feel right. And then it did make me, again, for a few days, just think about wanting to eat something sweet that I shouldn't eat. So I really have that problem anytime I introduce any type of sweet or carbs. I just want to go back to eating them again. And I'm back at that whole process of trying to go a few days without anything other than, meat and water to try and get past those cravings. All right. Cindy celebrated her dog's birthday with a burger, bun and all from Chili's. He had the kid burger meal. All right. That's great. Here's another question. So let's go to that. Do you eat bacon? How much in a week? And he eats a lot. All right. So, Greg, let's see here. I would say I do eat bacon, and it really depends. So I've been getting a butcher box thing delivered every month, and I actually didn't do it this month, but I normally do it every month. And in that, with the setup that I got, I get a free thing of bacon, free package of bacon. So I always have that coming in, and usually we get some more bacon at the store. So I try and keep to No, bacon with no sugar in it, if possible. Um, but I do eat bacon probably, I'd say, close to once a week or so, maybe more. I've had times when I've had some sugar cravings in the evening or just cravings for carbs or whatever, and I just cooked up some bacon and ate the bacon, and then I felt nice and full and didn't have the cravings anymore the rest of the evening. So typically I'll do that. I'll have like a half a pound of bacon or something, maybe a little more than that, but I do like to eat bacon. And I know some people um, think that you probably shouldn't have a lot of bacon, but um, overall it's pretty good. I think they talk about like the nitrates in them, but I don't have a problem with eating them, so I definitely eat bacon. Okay. Fan YT says my son's heart rate was going crazy last month. He was taken in by the new drug being used in schools, Chinchilla Central, I think it's called. Have you heard of it? I have not. Um, so I don't know, but I definitely I can see a drug, causing a higher heart rate, a rapid heart rate, depending on exactly what it is. There definitely are certain you know, drugs, even like, prescription drugs that you can get and so forth that can increase your heart rate. So that definitely could be, but I'm not familiar with that particular drug. So Nicole, yes, talked about how we live 45 minutes away from each other and we're in Virginia. Yes, it is. It's funny because I've known her for a little while here through YouTube and didn't know that we lived near each other until like what, maybe a week ago. So okay, so Cindy had asked if Ron is a writer, Carnivore Ron, and then he replied that he writes some poems. So that's pretty cool. Started writing songs in 2015. Cool. And if you guys haven't checked out Carnivore Ron's channel, check it out. I know he's done a few interviews within the community, and he started doing his own channel as well to promote the lifestyle. So check out his channel. Somebody asked about we should do a meetup, and Nicole says we are starting to talk about it. May just be the two of us. We'll see. There could be more people out here in Virginia. So, yes, I agree about bacon being great for the cravings. Um, like I talked already about doing that once in the evening there when I had a sugar craving. Um, it's pretty quick to cook too, right? You can cook it really quick. And yeah, it definitely helps. It's got a good, pretty high fat content, so it helps to make you feel fuller. Okay, I am caught up right now on the questions. Um, if you do have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If I missed a question, please enter it again, put a Q in front so I see it. Hopefully, I got all the questions though. Right. Okay, Judy says, "Is it me? The weather is warm, but I want to eat." So, Judy, I know you're early in and on your carnivore diet. I hope it's going well. Um, Sounds like you still have some of the cravings. I deal with those every now and then as well, especially when I reintroduce carbs a little bit here and there. I'm always better when I just eat meat and drink water, but I still, from time to time, will add some carb in, and then I get the cravings back again, and then I got to deal with trying to get rid of the cravings. So I definitely can relate to that wanting to eat. Best advice I can give is just to try and eat as much meat as possible. Get fatty meat, um, ground beef. For years, I always heard it was best to try and get the leanest meat, but that's not really the way to do it. You want to find some, fattier meat. So if you can get, you know, 75-25 or something, that's a good ratio for ground beef. Ribeyes are really nice fatty meat in terms of steak. If you do chicken, try and get chicken with the skin on them. Like if you do chicken wings or chicken thighs with skin on them, that helps. And that animal fat helps to um, it helps to keep you fuller for a longer period of time. All right, let me catch up here on the comments. Okay, how much weight have you lost so far? So I have lost 75 pounds since starting the carnivore diet. I did lose 60 pounds rather quickly in about 3 to 4 months or so. And then I kind of hit a period that I didn't do as well. Um, that was in like the holiday time period last year, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I kind of got myself into that craving thing because like I'd eat a Christmas cookie or something, and then I'd start getting cravings, and I'd be like, well, I've been doing really well with my diet. I'm just gonna have another cookie. And that kind of stalled me. I even gained a little bit during that time period. And then as I got into the new year, I started doing better again and lost a few more pounds. So I'm currently around 75 pounds, just over 75 pounds lost at this point. The last couple of days, the scale starting to move down a little bit again. So I have hit those different periods where I've been kind of like in a rut with the scale where it doesn't really move for a few weeks to a month or so, and then I lose a little bit of weight again. So, but I'm at 75 pounds right now. Did you ever promise yourself a food reward for a certain goal reached? I do then keep lowering the number. Um, I haven't done that. And this might be a little different, but I don't normally give myself a goal to reach. Um, for me, yes, I'm overweight and I'm still overweight. I've lost quite a bit of weight, a lot of, body fat. I still have a lot more to lose, especially in my belly. But that isn't really the ultimate number one reason why I'm doing carnivore. It's for other things. It's for feeling better, having energy, not having the joint pain and arthritis that I had before, not having AFib episodes like I was. Like, I was really to the point that I was having a couple of episodes a week, and I could recreate having an episode just by doing heavy weights. And now that I'm doing carnivore, I'm doing even heavier weight when I lift weights, and I'm not going into an episode. So that's another example of something that has really been a benefit for me. And I've been really doing carnivore for those types of things more so than the weight. The weight is like secondary for me, and it's a great thing to lose the weight. But it's not my main reason for doing carnivore. Okay. Okay, so Judy says, yeah, she's under 30 days and struggling with the sweets. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. I think for me, um, so I started with keto and slowly went into carnivore. I'm not the one that like jumped straight into carnivore, right? I eased into it, and so it's harder to say when the sweet craving stopped for me. But I think it was pretty early on. And then every time I'd reintroduce something, which probably the first several months, I would do that every once in a while. I'd go out to eat or something. I'd have like mashed potatoes or rice or something. And every time I did that, I'd kind of, for the next day or two, really crave to have something like that again. And then I think I got better with it as we went into the spring, and I went through a period there. I think it was like a month and a half or so where I had nothing basically, but I had eggs, bacon, steak, it was like New York strip or ribeye, and drank regular water. And the only seasoning was Redmond salt. And I didn't have any cravings within probably the first week. The cravings went away. I didn't have any cravings during that time period. And then I got a little laxed again and had some things that I shouldn't, and the cravings would start coming back. So that's one thing I've noticed, at least for me, when I've had sweets, the cravings always seem to come back. Um, so for me, the experience has been that it's always best to stay completely away from the crave or from the carbs and so forth. Hopefully, you're almost 30 days. I think you say you're under 30 days. I think you're pretty close to a month now. So hopefully you're getting close to a point where you're going to get past those cravings. Another thing I would say is if you're drinking like sparkling waters, check out the ingredients list because it is possible that there is, even though it says no sugar, you might have like sucralose or something like that in there. That's an artificial sweetener, and that could be keeping the cravings going for you. Um, and that's probably one of the big ones. Also, some people drink coffee and they're fine with it. But coffee could be potentially causing an issue with cravings as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Do you do electrolytes? I sweat a lot at work and use Element. So I do not do electrolytes, but part of that is because of my AFib that I had. So I've been on potassium and magnesium because I had a little bit low levels of those back before. And my cardiologist said that that could potentially help with the AFib. I don't think that it ever did, so I've been on it for a while. But now that I'm on carnivore, I've just continued to do that. So it's an over-the-counter magnesium, and it's a prescription potassium pill that I've taken. And then I salt my food with Redmond's. So I'm getting my sodium. So sodium, potassium, magnesium are really the big three when it comes to electrolytes. So I don't take any particular electrolytes because I'm already taking that stuff. Um, for somebody that's not already taking magnesium and potassium, I would say early on, that's pretty important as you're going into carnivore or even keto for that matter, to make sure that your electrolytes are not going out of whack. So that's probably when it's good to do something like that. People that have been carnivore for quite a while, a lot of them don't do electrolytes anymore. Some still do, but a lot of them don't just because as they've gone on, they don't really need it anymore like they did in the beginning. And as for the magnesium, potassium, I'm going to see when I go to my cardiologist appointment next. I think it's in October. If he wants me to continue with that, depending on how the blood work looks. The last time the levels looked pretty good, and we'll see if he's gonna have me continue with those or not. Yep. It's hard to gauge those true hunger cues, but eating the fatty cuts of meat definitely helps. Completely agree with that. Ron says, "I cook chicken with lots of butter." Mhm. Butter definitely helps with chicken because chicken's a very lean meat. Eating fatty meats during the day is okay or just at dinner time. Yeah, it's okay during the day. And so I'd even say that it's probably better than at dinner time because one thing that some people on carnivore have that they run into is they run into trouble with falling asleep at night. And it has a lot to do with their fat intake later in the day. So not everybody has that, but some people do. So if you do run into that where you're having trouble sleeping at night, one option is to not eat as much fatty um, meat later in the day, eat it earlier in the day. But definitely, you know, eating fatty meats during the day is definitely okay. Um, one thing that you can really tell if you're getting enough fat or not in your diet, um, if you're kind of a little bit constipated, then you're not getting enough fat in your diet. And if you're having diarrhea problems, you could very well be getting too much fat in your diet. So that's something that can help figure out, just how much fat you need in your particular diet because everybody is different. Um, Matter of fact, Dr. Anthony Chafee talks about that, and that's exactly what he'll say. If you're having issues with going to the bathroom a lot, then you're probably taking in a bit too much fat. And if you're having trouble going to the bathroom not enough, then you might not be getting enough fat. Um, and that said, some people do get a little confused about how often they should be going to the bathroom. Some people go like once a day or once every couple of days or so, 2 to 3 days, and that's perfectly normal. So that doesn't mean that you're constipated just because you might only go like every other day. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. And definitely here, your body will adjust as you consistently keep eating this way. So in the beginning, don't worry about time frames. Eat till comfortably stuffed. That's a good point there too. Um, and that's why sometimes I eat once a day and sometimes I eat twice a day. The idea is to eat until you feel pretty comfortably full and then don't eat again until you're hungry. And I know early on that's hard because you have the cravings and so forth. And sometimes your brain is telling you you're hungry, but you really aren't. But once you get going for a while and you've been eating consistently and not eating carbs, you start to realize when you really are hungry. And that's when it makes it easier. So like when I first started doing this way of eating, I was like, I don't know how people can eat once a day, maybe twice a day, maybe, but the once a day thing, I didn't think that I could ever do that. But um, I've done that a lot and just because, I don't have those sugar cravings anymore unless I do, eat carb there for a while. But normally I don't have those sugar cravings. And I know that I only need to eat again when I'm hungry, which sometimes is not until the next day. All right. But, and then I'm tempted to eat pats of butter. So there's definitely people out there that have talked about, eating a lot of butter. Some people talk about like eating a stick of butter a day. I don't really subscribe to that. I use some butter in my cooking and that, but that's, about it. I think that depending on what type of meat you're eating, like if you're eating ribeyes or like I said, the 75-25 ground beef, you're probably getting a pretty good fat content. It'd be better if you could even get better than that. But so I don't know that you have to use a lot of butter. Now, I will say, like, when I make chicken wings, I like to put a lot of butter on them, melt the butter on them and so forth to add, um, to add the animal fat to that. But, yeah, I don't think that you really need to eat necessarily a lot of butter. Um, just kind of figure out what works for you. And again, though, if you're not having issues with going to the bathroom all the time, then maybe you are, eating the right amount of butter for you. So it depends. Okay. See if I can catch up here a bit. Okay, so she jumped to carnivore from SAD, which is standard American diet. A lot of people do that. They jump straight in from, eating a lot of carbs and so forth and go to carnivore. Um, I eased into it, so I didn't quite have that experience that some people get, where you get like what they call the keto flu. You feel a little rough. You don't necessarily have energy the first, few days to a couple weeks or so, and you can have a lot of issues with going to the bathroom. I didn't experience too much of that because I eased in, but I did have a little bit of the bathroom thing early on. But I didn't have some of the other stuff just because I eased in. But there are a lot of people that just go straight into it, and some people don't have as many issues um, with that as others. But that's just your body getting adjusted and used to eating a completely different way. All right. Greg just got some Redmond real salt this past week, and he really likes it. I do too. It's great. It comes from an ancient sea from Utah. So, it's protected from like plastics and stuff like that, that could be in sea salt, depending on where it's mined from today. So yeah, I love using Redmond's. That's the salt that I use all the time. All right. Trying to catch up here on the comments again. Someone else talking about Redmond's. Santa's talking about the Redmond's. Been using it for over 4 years now. Yep. I've been using it for over a year. So myself. Like that the salt is, yep, sourced from cave in Utah, supporting US business. Yep. Okay. I do the same. Sometimes I eat OMAD 1 meal a day, but for the most part, my body too mad. Just listening to my body. Yep. And I think also it depends on where you're at in your journey, right? Like, when I first started out, I was doing twice a day. Then I went down in like in the spring where I was pretty much 1 meal a day for a good month, month and a half or so. And now I'm kind of, back to 1 meal sometimes, 2 meals other times. So it definitely depends on where you're at in your journey too. So just listen to your body, like she says. I like 2 med. Otherwise, I want to snack if I do OMAD. And then I noticed the days after I go in with a lot of fatty meat would end up being OMAD. Yeah, that's where I was really noticing when I was eating ribeyes all the time. The ribeye is just a fattier cut of steak, and um, I was, you know, I was staying full for a good 24 hours. Um, the other thing is when I first started doing it, where I was eating the ribeyes, I was probably eating at least 24, 26 ounces, 28 ounces, somewhere in there. And over that month and a half period, I got to the point that I was down to just eating like 20 ounces because I was getting full so quickly. Okay. The pink salt from Pakistan is left over from the ancient, I don't even know how to say that, Tethys Ocean. So that's good. The salt has 80 different trace minerals, all of which are found in the human body. So Cindy says she started with 3 meals, then went to two, then one, and now she's usually two. But I also needed to get my body's protein up, so I'm expecting that. Yep. So that's another example of just listening to your body, and um, don't think that you're always going to eat the exact same way. Uh, you know, s- Same thing like with exactly what you eat. There's been time periods that I've ate pretty much triple B and E, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and then times where I felt like I needed to introduce chicken again and pork and stuff like that. So, and question here is, where do you get Pakistan salt from? To Ron, and then he replied with, it's the Himalayan pink salt. I think I'm caught up with the comments here. Walmart carries the pink salt now. Yep. Yeah, I've been getting the Redmond's. You can either get it directly from Redmond's, or I've also been getting it from Amazon for the Redmonds. But yeah, I've definitely seen the pink Himalayan sea salt at different places like Walmart, Target, other grocery stores, and so forth. All right. So I think I hit all of the questions. If you do have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. Um, let's see, it is Wednesday evening, so I don't have another live stream until next Monday. So next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, be live streaming with Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto. So we did talk about that earlier, but just pointing that out there again. That'll be my next live stream. Nicole and I have a live stream coming up in another week or so with Alia Wells. I have a live stream with Dave Mack coming up. That's about 2 weeks out. We're planning there. It's hard sometimes to get both of our schedules together when we can do things at the same time. Let's see. Brian, have you tried the cherry from Redmond's? I have not. I don't have the bottle with me, but I've just been using um the fine ancient sea salt one. Okay, here's a good question. Do you ever put seasoning on your meat besides salt? Yes, sometimes I do. Normally it's just the Redmond salt. Um, I do have a pellet grill and I like to smoke pulled pork, and I will use some other seasonings then. Um, Usually what I do is I put some of the Redmond salt on it first, and then I will put a good, rub on it. Um, Usually, I make sure that it doesn't have, like, a lot of sugar or hopefully any sugar, but it might have some other seasonings to it. And sometimes I've even just gone basic and just put salt and pepper on it. Um, I tend to not try not to use pepper that often, but I do sometimes. And then I make homemade beef jerky sometimes where I'll get chuck roast and I'll thin it up slice, thin it, bleh, I can't talk, slice it thinly. And I will just put, sometimes I'll just put salt on it. Other times I'll put some salt, a little bit of garlic and pepper on it. Um, I know that that's not necessarily full carnivore, but I do that sometimes. Um, and I am Polish, so I make homemade kielbasa. And when I do that, I do put some garlic and pepper as well as salt in that. So there are times that I do use some other seasonings other than salt. The Carnivore Ron has a stream on Sunday, August 20th with Nicole and Alia. So everybody can check that out. Kielbasa. So I again I am Polish. So for me, when I go to the grocery store and they have something there called Polish kielbasa, to me that's not kielbasa. It tastes more like a regular sausage to me there. So I like really authentic kielbasa. I like the um, I guess it's in Poland. There's you can get a few different kinds of kielbasa there. It's the one that's the more traditional, authentic, like Christmas kielbasa that I like to make. So that's what I make with I get pork butt or pork shoulder and make my own kielbasa that way. Intrigued about the real kielbasa now. Yeah. um, so there are some stores out there across the country that are going to have real Polish, authentic Polish kielbasa. They're not going to normally be the grocery store. It's going to be like um, like a European store or with Polish, German, whatever. Um, and they will have some pretty good authentic Polish kielbasa. But it's very rare to find it at a place. A lot of times, you just have to make it homemade. And my uncle has made it for years, and I learned from him how to make it. So it's pretty good stuff. It's a lot better than what you can buy in the grocery store. And she's gonna be googling how to do it now. Oh, and carnivore run. Oops, let me go back one here. His stream that he talked about on the 20th is at 11 a.m. Central Time, so that would be noon Eastern Time. That's his stream with Nicole and Elia. Cindy's in a small town. Yeah, small town. It might be really hard to find a place that you can get it. There are some places though that are online that are authentic kielbasa that will ship it to you. It can be kind of expensive because they have to pack it in dry ice and so forth. So the shipping can be kind of expensive, but that is definitely an option. All right. So Judy asks, is the beef, bacon, butter, and eggs a carnivore thing? Yeah. So this was actually created by Dr. Ken Berry. And I think, he really rose to fame with promoting the keto diet, low carb diet, keto. Um, and then from there, he kind of moved more into carnivore, but he still promotes keto or carnivore. And one of the things he did was at first he kind of put a challenge out there. He coined it beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, triple B and E. And it was like a 30-day challenge thing. And the idea with it was kind of like an elimination diet. So you only eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And if you did that for 30 days, if you're having trouble with your weight loss or whatever, you do that for 30 days and it's going to help kickstart the weight loss again. Usually because you've had something in your diet that's slowing you down or whatever. And also, it's a good thing to do just to feel healthier, feel better, get more energy and so forth, especially if you haven't been, eating quite as well. So that's kind of where it came from. And it really took off. Dr. Camberry has a lot of followers. I think his YouTube channel has, I could be wrong, but I know it's over 2 million, maybe 2.5 million subscribers or something crazy like that. Maybe even more at this point. I don't know. But so it really took off, and a lot of other content creators on YouTube started talking about it and doing the challenge and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely like keto or carnivore type of thing. It's fully carnivore when you think about it: beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Um, but a lot of people that are doing the keto diet also will do triple B and E. And yeah, Cindy says it's the ultimate elimination diet. It really is because if you've got something that maybe is still causing problems for you and you go to that, um, most likely you eliminated whatever that food was that was causing that problem. Ron says he can't eat wheat flour because he's allergic to gluten. Sometimes he misses bread. I've never been a big bread person, so I usually don't miss eating bread. Um, it's funny because I've never been big on sweets necessarily either, but there's been times that I kind of get cravings for it and miss it. Um, Nobody else in my house is doing carnivore or even low carb diet at this point. So there's usually a lot of other foods there, cookies, cakes, whatever. And sometimes I see them and I'm like, well, I just want to eat that. I'm going to go ahead and eat it. And it's never as good as I expect. Like, I'm like, oh, look at that cookie there. I really miss cookies. I'm going to eat it and this is going to be great. And then I'm like, I didn't even really like that. Why did I just waste eating that cookie? So that happens to me a lot. Okay, here we go. Yes, it's an elimination way of eating. This is for triple B and E. I did 60 days of it leading up to carnivore, post 4 years keto. Beef with B and E, ruminant meats. Yes, that is true. Bacon is excluded due to its fat content. Yep. So yeah, um, you could do elk, deer, moose, whatever, right? I'm probably missing other ones, but yeah, so any of those would be considered ruminant animals. Lamb, there you go. Lamb is my favorite. Lamb's another one. Yes, lamb is really good. Lamb is very tasty. And he was saying here, the trick is to add back one meat at a time after doing triple B and E and see how you feel. That's a good point. Cindy is half Greek and Easter is lamb on a spit over a fire. Brian will have to do. Yes. And Mrs. Keto and Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto. I'm Turkish and Indian, so best believe I love lamb as well. She says lamb for Thanksgiving. And Greg misses cookies and ice cream. That's about it. So I'll tell you what, Dr. Kiltz has a recipe. I haven't tried it, but he calls it iced cream. So iced with a D cream. I haven't tried it. I don't know exactly, but it's supposed to be completely carnivore. So you might want to check that out from Dr. Kiltz. Cookies was the only sweet I liked. Everyone could have kept all the other sweets. Yeah. And don't forget, if you haven't already, like the live stream so it'll help to get more people noticing it on YouTube. I miss Nestle Crunch and Mounds. I used to eat Reese's, the Reese's peanut butter cups. So I kind of miss those. But I don't know, like a few months back, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I think, um, I had one of the Reese's peanut butter cups and I was disappointed. It just tasted so sweet to me. It was just too much. And yeah, it wasn't the same anymore, which is kind of what happens when you've been doing carnivore for a while. Yeah, I haven't tried Dr. Kilt's carnivore ice cream yet either, but I've been curious. Yeah, I've seen the videos for it, or at least I saw that there's videos out there for it, but I haven't really looked into it too much either. Thank you, Cindy. She hit the like early on. I don't do peanut butter and chocolate. Either or is fine. So I used to eat a lot of peanut butter. I talked before about the protein shakes I used to have with baby spinach, and I used to put peanut butter in it too. And um, I've found just from testing since going to carnivore that when I do eat peanut butter, it causes me joint pain. So I've been staying completely away from peanut butter. Um, Literally, I found that I would eat like just a little bit. It could be just like a spoonful of peanut butter or something, and um, within a couple hours, I would notice my wrist kind of being a little sore or something. And it took me a few different times of testing this and so forth that I did realize, yeah, either my wrist or my ankle would get sore shortly after eating peanut butter. So I have definitely stayed away from peanut butter since then. Peanut butter gives me heart palpitations. Maybe the sugar in it. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Thanks for chatting tonight. All right. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, boy, it has been over an hour here. Um, if you got any last questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. Give it a couple minutes here before I sign off. Thank you, everybody. It's been pretty engaging hour or so here this evening. And Cindy says, "I'm so glad I showed up for this. Thank you. That makes me feel really good. You know, I do this, um, do these lives, and really do the YouTube channel for other people to help them with support in their experience with the carnivore diet, and just to share my experiences could help people with their own experiences, especially if they're kind of seeing the same type of things that I've seen in my diet and my journey through carnivore. Um, so really great to see that people are getting something out of this. All right, so I don't see any more questions, so I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. And don't forget, next Monday, I have another live stream coming up, and we'll see from there. I'll probably be doing another solo live at some point here in the next couple weeks as well. So thank you, everybody. Bye.